Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing here on this Tuesday morning? This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Hope you are all doing well. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of December, 2025 at 11 a.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1 for reference there. For those who are new to this live stream, my name is Reganelite. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. We do this every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. for 1 hour. And what we do is we look at today's daily quota. We look at the weather that's happening out there. And we also have a look at see what some of the websites and what they're saying about some of the latest news. We're going to be looking at UK news specifically. We're going to be looking at from the Times, the Telegraph, the Financial Times, the iPaper, the Independent, BBC News, Sky News, the Guardian, and if we have time, we'll have a quick look at Byline Times. Just some of the news is that we're going to be looking at today for UK reference there. Let me just see who we got in the chat before we get going. Good morning, Matty Von Eric. Hope you are doing well. Jeanette, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Scott Hayes, good morning to you. Stephen Banker, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Robert there, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Alex Adams, sorry, I might fall asleep during this as I got woke up an hour after I fell asleep with the daughter phoning night shift tonight. Oh joy, oh joy. No worries. If you're tired, it's totally understandable, Alex. Yeah, I suppose that music at the start wasn't very helpful, to be fair, either, to be fair. Apology, like, I didn't want to put that music, guys. What I wanted was the sound of a blizzard or a sound of falling snow, something like that. But there's no sound effect for it, which is really, really annoying. So I had to pick a song. And I didn't want a too Christmassy song, so I thought something nice and calm maybe might be going with it. So, and I wanted to keep the music low, and I was listening to it there, just listening to it back, and I was like, still feels a bit too loud. And I want to keep the music very low for it, guys. I want it low cut. I do want the song low cut. I don't want it too loud for reference there. And just before we get going, a reminder, I'll be going live again later on today at 12 o'clock with Global News. So if you guys want to join me for that as well, it would be greatly appreciated. So today is the 2nd of December, which means it is today's daily quota here. Here it is, just for reference, so you guys know. I never make them up. This is what it says there. So there it is. There. And the website, of course. Is it me, or do I feel like it's... I feel a lot more... It's because of the sunshine out there. That's probably why I'm a bit more. The screen's a bit more murky. I do have lights on in here. I do apologise. So this one is from Scoterates. I suppose that's the name, Scoterates. I think if I've said that name right. Pete's Music, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. And it goes like this: there is no possession more valuable than a good and faithful friend. There is no possession more valuable than a good and faithful friend. What a very nice quotation. I like that one, guys. I hope you like that one too. Good and faithful friend. Very, very nice one there. Very nice one for tomorrow as well. Every now and then, there's a really, really good one. And then there are ones that are like, they're okay, but they're not really to take on, I don't feel to take on board. But it differates, doesn't it, the quotes? They do differate, yeah, to be fair. So, let's have a look at the weather, guys. What's happening in the weather today? The weather report. Let me just zoom out a little bit. All the way out. Then have a look at our big, beautiful planet. Here it is, guys. Today at 6 o'clock. This is our big, beautiful planet here, is what they are forecasting at the moment. Just going to scroll along just for lols, just to see what it's like. Look at it as it moves along. Very fascinating. Very fascinating. I'm just looking, I'm looking down and I'm seeing one of the rainstorms turn into a snowstorm because of the temperatures where it's going into there. Very fascinating as we're watching it change over there. Thought that was quite interesting there. Zoom a little bit in, see some of the temperatures there. As you can see, BBC can't be bothered to update some of them. Yellowknife is minus 28 degrees. Minus 28 degrees, guys. Jesus. Minus 28. You know what? I'm going to have to go to Yellowknife at some point to tick off my bucket list. That's brutal. 28 degrees. Wow. That's brutal. That is brutal. I thought negative 15 was bad. Minus 28. Damn. How can you live in such an environment? My God. Some of the other temperatures here aren't really too much of a change here. Vicky, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And person impersonator there, I just saw pop in there. Some of these other temperatures haven't changed too much. San Francisco 11, Miami a nice warm 29, New York 6, Mexico City 20. Same temperatures in most parts of South America there from the looks of it there. Same in Africa, not too much change in parts in temperatures there from the looks of it here. Not too much change over here on Oceania and Australia there. 15, Sydney, Auckland 20. Philippines 26, Beijing a negative 5 with some snowstorms they look like they've got there. Tokyo 10 degrees there. New Delhi 12, Riyadh 22 there. Tehran 12 there. Just seeing Cairo 19 there. Tripoli 17. A couple of other places there. Before we look at Europe, let's just scroll up and just see how's our good friends up in Iceland. What's their temperatures there? Can you tell me? Minus 1 degree. They got a nice snowstorm on the other side of the island. So looks like the capital's avoiding it. But, there's like small little towns here and there around dotted around Iceland. It's mainly for those who aren't aware. It's mainly dotted around the left hand side of the island. There's not really too much on the other side. It's more mountains, but they do have a road that goes all the way around the island. Just for reference, we were there for a week or two. I think it was a week actually. We did a lot, but you want to do a couple of weeks and you want to do a trip around the whole island. There's so many places to go to in the country. And honestly, don't let, it really is a wonderful, it's not just about the Northern Lights, Iceland. There is some great places to go to there. I do recommend it. I don't think I'll ever go back there again, to be fair, in my lifetime, but I can say I've been there and I've enjoyed it there. Got this big snowstorm up here. Oslo 7 there. Minus 14, Musmax there. St. Petersburg 3, Riga 1. Moscow, Chile 1 degrees there. Warsaw 3, Berlin 3, Prague 2, Vienna 4, Zagreb 3, Budapest 6, Chisinau 3 there. Kiev 5 there. Temperatures on the Eastern European side there, as we can see. Zooming a bit more further down, we can see Istanbul there 11, Athens 15. Taria 12, Rome 10, Nice 12, Bern 1, as you would expect up in the Swiss Alps. Paris 7 there, Madrid and Lisbon 6 and 13 degrees. Looks like parts of Spain and Portugal are going to be experiencing a bit of snowstorms there, and as well they're getting some rain as well from the looks of it there. So most of, I think we saw this yesterday, most of Europe wasn't going to be affected having too much snow, and it looks like again, unless they've had it earlier in the day, just scrolling back a little bit. Yeah, most of Europe's not going to be getting too much snow, to be fair. Or rain, just lots of cloud. Just lots of cloud from the looks of it there. 1 Angry Pagan, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Guys, make sure you check out 1 Angry Pagan's YouTube channel as well. Let's have a look at the UK, guys, specifically there. Brussels 8 there as well. So, at the moment, today at 6 o'clock, London 9 degrees, Cardiff 7, Manchester 7, Dublin 6, Belfast 5. Edinburgh 6 here. As I said yesterday, there is some scattered showers here and there, but most of the parts will be dry, but you'll get a slight drop of rain here and there. Nothing too big. If I scroll it back a little bit, from about an hour's time from now, you can see there's not too much rain. I mean, there will be parts of Scotland right at the north that'll get it. You can see just about there. So there will be parts up there that will get it, but most of Scotland will be dry. Some parts of, so you can see quite a fair chunks of Wales, the Midlands, in the middle of England and south, going to be experiencing some rains there. But overall, it's tiny little bits. It's not really like a storm per se, so it's not going to be too effective. What's more concerning is obviously the temperature is going to drop down a little bit, as you can see here. Temperatures are expected to be a bit chillier, so do take caution with that as we go into Tuesday evening, into Wednesday morning, as you can see. As we go overnight into early Wednesday morning, you can see the temperatures here. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Pretty much the UK is a 5 degrees pretty much everywhere on the. I don't think I've ever seen where they've said that every single part of the UK is 5 degrees. But there you go, guys. So early Wednesday morning, going to be nice and chilly there. going into, early Wednesday morning. Temperatures will increase, though. They'll come back up Wednesday lunchtime to there in some parts. Edinburgh still going to be cold at 7 there. Belfast 7, Dublin 9, Manchester 9, Cardiff 9, London to increase to 10 there. But as you can see here, you can see it appearing on the left-hand side of the screen as I'm going along there. Wednesday evening there, Ireland is going to be getting a big ball of shower dropping all over them. Respectfully there is some scattered showers here and there around on Wednesday, but nothing too serious. Most of the day it should be dry in most parts of the UK, pretty much everywhere. But as we go overnight from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, those showers are going to cross over into the mainland here. You can see some of those showers are going to be appearing overnight in Scotland, parts of northern England, and some parts of Wales there, as well as down the south of England there. So we move a bit more further. Temperatures overnight are not too bad where I am, but in other parts they'll still be quite low. 6, 5, 5, 7, 6, 9. Not as bad as some other temperatures that we've experienced overnight. Let me put it that way. But they should be lower but the reason they're not is because we know why, climate change. That's playing a part in it there. But Thursday morning here we can see you'll be waking up to some rainstorms in some parts depending on where you live exactly. So you might be able to get away with it, but most parts of Scotland looks like they're going to be experiencing a bit of rain and showers Thursday morning, but it is going to clear up, and it looks like there's going to be some snow and some high peaks there maybe some snow in some high peaks parts of Scotland there from the looks of it as well. But it's still going to be a chilly morning on Thursday. Moving into lunchtime, temperatures still staying roughly the same. Most of those rain will clear, but some parts will still have some rains here and there. But if we move further on, you can see more in the Thursday evening. Most of that rain in parts of England, parts of the UK will start clearing up. There is going to be some snow dropping, forecast looks like to snow, some sleet and that forecast in parts of Northern Ireland from the looks of it there, as well as some rain there. And finally, we'll have a look, just have a quick look at Friday before we wrap things up. We can see, so overnight Thursday, guys, really important. Overnight Thursday into Friday morning, temperatures dropping significantly. London 3, Cardiff 4, Manchester 3, Dublin 5, Belfast 5, Edinburgh 3. Big drop, much more dropper in temperatures. It's going to be a very chilly night Thursday night, guys. So it's going to get colder. Or that night. So Thursday night, be aware, it's going to be very cold into Friday morning. So we just be aware of that. Temperatures will increase. They'll come back up a little bit there. But we'll come to Friday a bit more closer to the time. But be aware. Thursday night into Friday morning, temperatures are going to be really drop off there. Are they going to drop? Are we going to get really, really cold temperatures? Not for a while. Okay, so after that night, guys, it looks like temperatures are going to peak back up, and we're actually going to have a very warm. We're going to have a warmer. We're going to have a better weekend. So parts of the UK is going to have the temperatures at 9, 10, 11 degrees in parts on the weekend of Saturday and Sunday. Looks like Scotland are going to be experiencing around 7 to 8, 9 degrees in some parts on the weekend, just for a reference there. So that's what we're going to be expecting in terms of the weather, if you go by what the BBC says there. Pagan is a wise and learned man, a very man to lead the Badger clan. Yes, and he'll be leading the Badger clan on the Eco Flake show this Thursday. Myself and One Angry Pagan with the Eco Flake show this Thursday, guys. So do join us for that. Icelandic, good on ya. Iskidia Icelandic in Icelandic, says Pagan. Been learning it. Ah, lovely. Sun spitting the trees in central Scotland. Nice day, if just a tad cool. Yeah, it's really nice when even if the temperature's not that great, it's nice when it's calm, where the skies are not too clear and it's dry. Those kind of temperatures, like the temperature's not really too fussed if it's not too cold, not too warm. Those kind of days are really, really nice. Are really, really nice days, I would say. Oh, excuse me. Blimmin' reflux. 1 second. So we have a look and see what the news is saying today, guys. We're going to start from the Times and see what they are saying here first, guys. Don't think we actually looked at them yesterday. Could be wrong. When you look at so much news, guys, you sometimes have a short. You tend to have a memory of a fishbowl sometimes, and that can be sometimes me. So they got jury reforms won't fix courts by next election, Lammy admits. So Justice Secretary says move to abolish juries for cases such as assault, burglary, and drug dealings, or not clear for fully the backlog. I really don't like these changes personally. I don't like that juries are being taken out, the jury reforms personally. However, I do want justice to be done for those who deem it, and we need to make sure the system works for those. We do need to fix the system, and unfortunately, the government needs to do something radical to do so. And this is one of their ways of doing it. I don't like it. But I do. But what I also don't like is people waiting years on years for their case to be heard as well. It's not fair on the victims more than anything. So there's a catch-22 system to it, and we keep asking the government. The government needs to put its hands in its pockets more, which I generally believe. But it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. We've kept our manifesto promises, Starmer says after tax rises. Yeah, I'm just not going to buy that one. Sorry. Now, some people will say some people may disagree, but no, I don't think Keir Starmer has kept his manifesto promises. Income tax to cash ISA limits, the key points of the budget. The OBR chief quits. We talked about that yesterday on the live stream. I've timestamped last night's live stream, so if you guys want to check out any story in particular that I covered on last night's live stream, you can go straight to it now, which is very easy. Starmer and Reeves misled the cabinet to justify budget tax rises. Did they mislead the cabinet? That doesn't sound good. You misled the cabinet. That means you don't trust the cabinet. That's not a good sign, if that's true. Millions expected to miss out on prostate cancer screenings. Army kept Defence Minister in the dark over unsafe IX vehicles. Electric cars will need annual checks under Reeves' new rules. Teacher fears raid on school budgets to fund special needs reforms. That's very concerning indeed. Did Rachel Reeves lie, and will she resign? No, she's not going to resign. Did she lie? Of course she did. I think she lied, but... police deny fitting evidence to support Machiavelli fans. I ranted about this yesterday, so if you guys want to hear my ranted about this yesterday on the live stream in the evening, was not happy about this story still being talked about. Labour have stopped short of snuffing out all wood-burning stoves. So, how do I feel about the wood-burning stove thing? Like, it's a nice novel. It's still a novelty thing, but yeah, it's bad for the environment, though. That's the only thing. Like, it's bad for the environment. It does take me back to my days of my grandparents in Ireland, and they had a fireplace, and yeah, I remember putting the wood and the burn the stove, and it is a very nice. It's a nice nostalgic thing. It's a nice thing, but yeah, it's not ideal for the environment, if I'm honest. I don't have a problem with Labour stopping it completely, but I could also understand people saying, "Oi, what about environment?" So, I'm not going to lash out at Labour on that one, if I'm personally honest. Maybe it's because of a bit of a personal side of me there about the wood-burning stoves and fireplaces and whatnot. Calls for 4-day weeks in schools to ease teacher burnout. I'm in favour of this. Anything that gives teachers a bit of a respite, I think it's really, really important. I think we definitely need to give teachers a bit more. You know, they get enough work on their plates as it is. I think an extra day would really be helpful to them. Talked about the 3 Conservative MPs. I'll touch on that in a bit later on. And Sadiq sentenced 2 years in jail in Bangladesh, which she's not going back to as well. Row over electric fence put up over wife's fear of foxes. I don't like that. You're putting electric fences up, yeah, to stop, to prevent foxes coming in. I think that's a bit over the top, especially when you're like, the foxes are not a threat. Like, I'm not a big like. Let me put it this way: I don't like foxes turning up in my garden, but I'm not going to put up electric fence if they're howling in the middle of the night, which they sometimes do at 1 a.m. Howling inside our garden because our garden is the only place in the area where there's a pond of water where animals can drink from. Instead of me actually getting an electric fence to block them out, I'm just going to go out there and just shout, shoot, 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 and they run away instead. That's much a better. That's more of a humane thing to deal with rather than actually, putting up an electric fence. But that's just my personal preference. I don't personally have a fear of foxes, but I understand people how people feel about foxes, but I think electric fence. I think that's far. That's a bit too far for me, especially when it could harm the foxes as well. Stories from Scotland from the Times, so take them with a pinch of salt. If you want expert analysis on how true or not true these stories are, speak to Dave McGuinness and the two Davies. Salmon's company burnt through cash before his death, apparently. NHS boss authorised attack on Sardine at Peggy's legal team. Independent school expels pupil who took in ceremonial knife, apparently. Filmmakers to challenge transphobic documentary titled Ruling There. As I said, yeah, I'm take them with a pinch of salt because this is coming from the Times as well. Laughing gas may provide rapid relief from depression. Maybe. I think there might be some truth to that. There might be some truth to that. Anything, but isn't there side effects to having laughing gas as well? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never taken laughing gas, so I don't know. I don't know it personally. If anyone wants to tell me in the chat what it's like. Everything with the wildlife, again, these fences will harm more than one species. That's also true, yeah. We're not just talking about foxes. What about if there's cats coming through as well, or cats passing through as well? Suspended doctors practice in UK after EU fails to share data. Something tells me that's not the EU failing to share data. That's UK being not getting all the information because we're not part of the European Union. I think that's more to do with it, but I don't know because I can't open the link. Junior doctors strike in senile attempt to wreck Christmas. Apparently, I wouldn't call it senile. I think it's just them fighting for better pay, better working conditions, which they are entitled to do. So they are entitled to do. Cigar lounges at risk under move to close indoor smoking loopholes. And that looks like some of the stories there we got from the Times. Let's have a look and see what the Tory graft, the Telegraph, the Reform graft, the right-wing graft, the bollocks graft, the nonsense Telegraph has. But those who wonder why I don't showcase the Daily Mail, they have far too many cookies. Same with the Daily Express. That's why I don't go near those papers. If all these ones that I show, they do have to share cookies, but they're not as much as the Daily Mail and the Express. Otherwise, I'd probably be more. I would still show it and call out some of the stories that they say. It's the only reason why I don't share the Daily Mail and the Express, because I do want to call out the bollocks that they say on their websites, guys. But there's too much cookies on their websites. So what the Tory graph is saying, Reeves battles to save herself as OBR chief is silenced. It's a bit exaggerated, if I'm honest. Police use frictious games in reports that led to ban on Israeli fans. Again, we discussed it last night. BBC chairman told to release minutes of board meeting after 8 months silence. Andrew Mouthbatten Windsor formally stripped of last remaining titles. Good. Courts cannot cling on to jury trials for the sake of tradition, David Lammy says. I think, look, let me just put it this way in terms of this, right? The most important thing is justice and a fair trial. As long as they have a fair trial and justice, I think that's the most important thing. But I do think juries still have a role to play. I do think that. I love Larson gas. There's no side effects to it, says Vicky. Thank you for that. I appreciate that comment. I don't know enough about laughing gas. You know, one thing I do notice is seeing them on the floor all the time around my area. Prince William, Wales, unlike any other nation in the world. Yep, that's why they want independence. Well, they may not be shouting about it, but they should do. Ex-British soldier helped Russia assassinate prominent Ukrainians. Wow, that's not good. Cocaine cows, how cartels use livestock to smuggle drugs to Europe. Trump claims allies victim of fraud is stalled in Honduras election. I haven't looked at Honduras election, so I need to read up on it. French mayor jail for blackmailing rival with sex tape. Haven't we got... Isn't there a former president who's in jail for... Is it Sarkozy? And now you got a French mayor. That's not a very good picture. We talk about the corruption from us. That's not very good for the French. But the difference between the English politicians and French politicians, they're actually held to account to a certain extent. It'd be nice to see some British politicians, English politicians in Westminster actually face the same kind of jails as the French are. We should take a leaf out of their Palais book. Spain's swine fever crisis may have started with wild boar eating a sandwich, apparently. Police arrests Father Christmas during Palestine action protests. Well, that's Christmas cancelled. Police have just arrested Father Christmas, guys. Well, that's Christmas. Well, I suppose I better take the jumper off now because Father Christmas has been arrested. Absolutely disgusting. BP abandons UK green energy plan in a blow to Miliband. Businessman admits scamming airlines with fake parts. A boy 14 dies at a train crossing that council had been urged to close. School considers renaming Pepe's house over writer's abuse of women. And nearly 1 in 3 children in Glasgow doesn't speak English as its first language, apparently. These are all from the Telegraph, just for reference there. I can't open these because they all require me to pay for them, which I'm not going to, guys. I'm not going to pay for the Tory graph. But yeah, Santa has been arrested. Sorry, guys. Father Christmas on the right side of history in support of Palestine action. He's been arrested in support of Palestine action. I'm assuming Father Christmas had a sign saying that. I'm assuming. But, yeah, apparently that's the story. Keir Starmer urges UK business to boost trade with China despite security threats. The PM aims to give company the confidence, clarity and support to make deals with Beijing. The UK to unveil curbs on jury trials. Justice Secretary David Lammy to set out reforms designed to tackle the backlog in court cases. North Sea executives tell Rees the windfall tax is weighing on investment there. That's an in-depth analysis there. The head of UK's physical watchdog quits after budget leaks. Yet we know about that. Doctors in England to strike for 5 days in the run up to Christmas. Western hits out the British Medical Association planned stoppage later this month. That's because you didn't promise them what they wanted. Some are accused of creating a new welfare trap by scrapping the 2-child benefit cap. Labour warn large families will have substantial incentive to claim sickness benefit in order to gain fully from the change. Starmer admits he planned to break manifesto pledge on income tax. The PM defends last week's budget and said there is no misleading about economic forecasts. Yeah, okay, sure. Sure. No, it's not great for the ozone layer. BP can go do one then. I take it with yeah. They're always going to argue, aren't they? I mean, they've had the most meetings. We discussed it before, my friend, haven't they? They've had the most meetings with They've had the most meetings with this government because they can't always get what they want. UK pension funds dumped US equity on fear of AI bubble. Public and private sector funds concerned over market growing concentration in a small number of tech stocks there. UK house price edges higher despite budget uncertainty there. OpenAI Sam Altman declares code red after rival make advances. I don't use ChatGPT, and I do have Grok, but I only use Grok unless I can't figure something out for myself to help steer me in the right direction. That's only about it. Apple replaces head of AI with executive poach from Microsoft there. ECB refuses to provide backstop for 140 billion Ukrainian loan. An exclusive there from there. Interesting. Royal splits in billionaire bankrupts the woman who remade the false law. Videos on new startup desk there, tech startup. India demands installation of government apps on all smartphones. So if you live in India, you have to have a government app on your phone, apparently. That's very interesting. NO2 nitrous oxide. Thank you, Pagan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it anyway, but I just didn't say it. Thank you. HSBC chief pledges to be ruthless in elevating banks to the top 5 status. Bank of England lowers capital requirements for UK banks as they pass stress test. Exclusive from the Financial Times, Blackstone, Apollo and KKR sign up to UK stress test of private credit as well. And they also got another exclusive, US regulator to curtail use of primary testing in drug trials there of primates. So they're going to curtail the use of animals there for some of their drug trials, which is a good thing. You would have thought they would have ramped it up under a Trump administration. Kremlin touts gains in Poskus of having a meeting with US envoy. Yeah, they've captured another village there from the looks of it. Council tax rise cannot be ruled out, says Reform Russia's top local government figure. Meloni's party pushes to declare Italy's gold property of the people there. So those are some of the stories there from the Financial Times. I can't actually open Financial Times. I used to be able to get round I used to be able to find ways to get round their articles, but I can't get round them at all now. They've changed it in such a way that you can't actually open up these articles without actually paying for the Financial Times now, which is very annoying. I had a way of getting around it, and the way I get around them doesn't work anymore. They've changed it. They haven't changed it for the other websites that I'm using, but yeah. I'm very well, Dad. Thank you so much for asking on Twitch. I wouldn't want my child, if I had one, drummed down to help clear backlogs. Sticking plaster, trying me thinks, says Peach Music. I totally accept that. I accept that criticism. You know, I would not want a case that if I'm a victim of, or that if I'm a victim of, to be rushed in any way, shape or form, to be kind of pushed through. I want it to be taken its time and whatnot, because all cases need to be taken on a case-by-case basis and need to be handled rightly and correctly. I do feel like, that I am concerned that many of them will be pushed like that. I am concerned about that. So this is from the iPaper. Reeves' stealth tax on savers risk killing off pensioners. Vote for good. Labour is struggling to recover from winter fuel payment cuts. 12 prisoners mistakenly released in last 3 weeks, David Lammy has admitted. So we're still getting prisoners being released, but to be fair, like, I want to make this clear. You can't, like, the prisons are going to make mess ups. That is going to happen. Obviously, any prisoners being released by mistake is terrible, but they just need to continue to, they need to implement an IT system or an AI system, you know, so that it's not all reliable on the humans doing that, because it's becoming a bit of an overburden. I think that's, you know, something like that. We talked about these prison releases in the past. I do think something like that, an AI software doing it on their behalf, I think it would just save a lot of trouble for the prison's administration team. I think it really would. It would take time to put through, but something that I do agree with. Trump denies that there was a kill everybody order, but he's never looked more deranged. Yeah, I'm gonna touch on the story later on about you know, the drug shooting where they blew up a boat and 2 people survived, and Pete Hegseth allegedly ordered a second strike to kill off those people. I'm going to talk about that later on. That is a story I do want to touch on, because it's really not looking good. Caroline Leavitt was asked about it, and she did not answer the question. Which says a lot. The press secretary for the US, for those who don't know who that is. Finland conscripts and Estonia's hedgehogs, the military models UK could have copied. Estonia hedgehogs. I don't know how hedgehogs would be useful for our UK military, apart from they could be very prickly and very annoying in the hands of our enemies, but I'm not sure how that can be helpful to us, but interesting. Let's have a look at politics here. While Brexit promises were made to the British people and not fulfilled. That's a Brexit's news story there from the iPaper. IBRT forced out, we know about that. A mystery virus and kids falling sick. How the UK war gained a new pandemic there. Keir Starmer eyes mental health welfare cuts after Benefit Street's budget criticism. An exclusive from the Reeves told to reverse pub tax as Labour MPs fear backlash over bar closures. Yeah, I hope not. I don't want to see bars closing. We do want people going out still. A landmine charity backed by Diana faces existential crisis as UK funding uncertain. That's terrible to hear. Any other stories here that we haven't seen, just out of curiosity? No, we saw all of them. Those are some of the stories from the iPaper. Running through these quite quickly. Should be able to open up a couple here in the next one, guys. This one is from the Independent here. Oh, look, another Black Friday deal. I thought Black Friday was over. Is it still going? Trump envoy Steve Witkoff arrives in Moscow ahead of crucial talks with Putin. So he met Putin. That must have been last night or this morning. Lammy to lay out plans for swift justice by scrapping some juries. Fresh blow for Reeves as Labour's anti-migration policy blamed for sluggish growth. So White House says second strike that killed alleged drug boat survivors was in self-defense. Okay. I'll touch on that later. Let's have a look at UK politics specifically here. OBR confronted Treasury about unhelpful leaks before Reeves' budget. Social media chipping away at attention spans of pupils, Ofsted says. Yep, this is 100% true. I do agree with this. Schools watchdog Ofsted have released its annual report for 2024-2025. Says that social media is chipping away at attention spans, promoting disrespectful behaviour. The Ofsted's chief inspector warned, as he said, schools should be a sanctuary for children away from their mobile phones. So Martin Oliver used his annual report to state the influence of social media clearly has played a part in driving disruptive behaviour through eroding children's patience for learning. His comments come amid an increasing debate over what extent phones should be allowed in schools. He said access to social media for young people and mobile phone use in schools have become a perennial topics of discussion. It's clear to me that schools need to help their pupils navigate the risks and pitfalls of their online lives, but there's no need to facilitate access on school grounds. This is where I agree. The mobile phones need to be completely out of their hands when it comes to school classes. And I've said in the past about how I honestly don't have a problem with the phones being taken away from them from the start of from the moment they enter the school to the end of the day. That's even between school playground times and whatnot. I really do think they don't need the phones. And for parents and whatnot who argue about they need to have their phones because of X, Y, and Z, like the school has a number. You can contact the school. You can contact the school if it's an emergency for whatever reason. Like you need to trust the schools with looking after your child, and you shouldn't be on top of the schools every 5 minutes. I know I'm not a parent, and it's absolutely right. People can criticize me as a non-parent, saying that parents should not be on top of their kids when it comes to their time in school. But you have to sometimes learn to let go. When you cling on to your child all the time, it can be very difficult to do that. I understand it's very difficult to let go, and it's understandable in this day and age, with for our children these days, being in school and not being able to keep on top of them here. I generally think that we need to give the schools the space that they need. Look, I am going to use my experience as my time in school. Like, I never had a mobile phone in school. My parents would never needed to call up and whatnot because they knew where I was. I was in school. They didn't need a mobile phone to access where I was. I generally think, that kids do not need the mobile phones at school. I just don't think they need them. And there should only be an example of them where if it's something about learning and studying about the learning about social media and how to combat it from a child's perspective, I think that's the only exception. Like if you're allowing them to use a mobile phone in a school, specifically learning about the use and the dangers of social media to the child, I think that's a good thing. If you have a teacher and assistant teacher, because I generally believe every single classroom should have a teacher and assistant teacher, and I think it's a crime that we have teachers who are teaching in schools and they don't even have an assistant teacher to help them. I think that I would ban that. If I was an education minister, I would say no. You cannot teach unless you have an assistant in the classroom. I generally would have that as a law, because it's not fair because there are some children who need that little bit of extra help, and they can't always get to the teacher. And I think having a second body helps the teacher. The assistant teacher just helps alleviate some of the stress for that teacher in the classroom. I really do think that's just me personally. I'm so glad that I went to school before social media was a thing. Same here. It was literally just getting, like, Facebook had literally just started right near the end of my time in school. So right near the end of my time in school. But I think I did have a phone near the end of my school time, but it was like a very basic phone. It was a very basic phone. So I really didn't get into So I never connected with my school kids because I never really got along with them. So we never really like set up Facebook or whatever, so you can stay in touch with them and whatnot like that. Whereas these days now they can stick together with kids now. I don't have that. I didn't have that. So fire hedgehogs at the enemy via giant turbulent devices. Got a nip getting hit in the mush by a ballistic hedgehog. That would be very nasty for our enemies to fire hedgehogs at them. That's for sure. Vicky says, if there's a shooting or bad teacher behavior, well, a shooting, obviously, you're talking about America, which is obviously a different, I can't speak for America. That's a whole different kettle of fish here. But the chances of shooting happening here in the UK is very unlikely. Yes, it can happen. I don't think it's very likely. Bad teacher behavior, that should not be happening. Really, we need to make sure that those who are appointed as teachers, they really are looked down. They're not just this. They really are thoroughly checked before they even become teachers. And I think, they do a pretty reasonable job of cross-checking their history quite well. And I do think if you are applying to be a teacher and whatnot, I do think your social media needs to be checked as well. You have to have your social media checked to see what kind of person you are online as well. I do think that plays a part in the kind of teachers that we could be having in our schools. I think that is something that needs to be, if they're not already doing that. I'm assuming they're doing that already on that. And the thing is, outside schools, when kids have access to their phones, the bullying will still happen. Definitely none at school. But that doesn't really fix the problem. Well, the problem is, but how do you fix that period from the time that they end school to the time they go home? You can't. It depends what age they are. I mean, if obviously they're a young age and they get picked up from school, that's a different matter. But obviously, if they're at a period where they can walk home or get the bus or whatever, you can't do anything about that. It's not something in your control. That is a big problem. The bullying will happen, phones or not. The bullying will happen, phones or not. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to look. Bullying is unfortunately something that we got to continue to fight as best as we possibly can. But yeah, it's the online bullying that needs to be dealt with. We do need to tackle that. That I do agree. We need to find a way to tackle that. I'm not sure how you can do that. I'm really not sure how. I don't have an answer to that, I'm afraid. I wish I could say I had an answer. So it's far better to provide children with sanctuary from their mobile devices once the school gate closes. Speaking to the press today, Sir Martin reiterated his support for banning phones in the classroom, though he said it should be up to head teachers to make the right decisions for their schools in line with government policy. Asked if he would support an Australian-style ban on social media for under-16s, he said, I think it's just wrong for children to access social media. Most of them have an age limit on them. Most of them just ignore the fact that children are actually using their service. Ofsted is increasingly hearing from teachers and that behaviour plays a part in driving teachers out of the classroom, despite many schools having good policies for dealing with behaviour, Sir Martin said in the report. He added that the problem of absence remains academic across the school system, and too many children are spending too long out of schools and falling out of step with the expectations of them at school. The report flagged that 19% more children are missing education entirely compared with last year. How can that be right? Sir Martin said to reporters. How can children miss entirely from education have risen by a fifth in 1 year? If that's not a scandal of attendance, I don't know what is. The suspension rate in schools fell slightly in autumn terms 2024-2025 compared with record levels of the previous year, but still remains significantly higher than pre-pandemic. 6 in 10 suspensions that autumn were down to persistent disruptive behaviour. So why the disruptive behaviour, Sir Martin said in the report? The influence of social media, whether by chipping away from attention spans and eroding the necessary patience for learning, or by promoting disrespectful attitudes and behaviour, clearly plays a part. I think, we had disrespectful attitudes and behavioural problems with children even before social media. Even before social media, we had that. Look, I will just say this: banning social media from children is not going to end the bullying. It's not going to end. It's not going to end a harassment of kids with one another. You can't fix that with social media. But is social media playing a part in that? Yeah, absolutely. But you can't pin it all on social media. The chief inspector said it was like under Ofstem's new framework, which came into effect in November, looked at how attendance and behaviour policies are working for different groups of children. In November, teenager Florence Machie, a mother of three, Katie Moore, joins two fathers seeking to legally challenge government guidance on phones in school. Their claim for a judicial review hopes to have smartphones completely banned from school. Smartphones should be completely banned from school. I agree with that. In addition, Esker Gray, a mother of murdered teenager Brianna Gray, launched a campaign this autumn for statutory ban on phones, saying that such a ban would have helped Brianna. Ms. Gates has advocated for the government to fund lockable pouches so students cannot access their phones during the day. Analysis from the Centre for Social Justice, the CSJ, on Monday suggested more than 800,000 UK children are already engaged with social media before they start school. That's a big problem. 800,000 UK children are already engaged with social media before they even start school. That's a problem. That's not just a failure. That's a failure on the parents there. That's a big failure on the parents there. The analysis applies the latest population data to previous research by Internet and Communications Watchdog, Ofcom, which found almost 4 in 10 parents of a 3 to 5 year old reported that their child uses at least one social media app or site. Former Education Minister Lord Nash described the research as deeply alarming before adding that hundreds of thousands of preschool children are being fed content and algorithms designed to hook adults. The likes of TikTok and you know, which have their consistent loads of videos like that kind of stuff, really does fry their brains, because it's rubbish. It's so much rubbish. Like, I'm so glad I don't use TikTok. I only use it to post content and don't scroll TikTok. There's so much rubbish on there. Like, it really, really is. It can be such a distracting method. Under the former Conservative government, schools were issued with non-statutory guidance intended to stop the use of phones during the school day. A survey by the Children's Commissioner earlier this year found that the majority of secondary schools, 79% surveyed, allow pupils to bring phones in, but said they must stay outside and not be used. Some 3.5% said pupils were not allowed to bring phones into schools. More recently, the Department of Education's Natural Behaviour Survey found fewer than 1 in 10, that's 9% secondary school leaders, say their students had to hand in their mobile phones or leave them elsewhere they cannot access them. The government maintains that schools already have the power to ban phones, and that it supports head teachers to take the steps needed to prevent disruption. It's going to be a conversation we're going to keep continuously having on and on and on. It'll be interesting. I believe it's today. Is it today that Australia's ban on social media is coming into play? I have to see how that goes as well, guys. The physical bullying only stopped when I started getting scary with me. Responses started going for the throat, so bullies stayed clear after that. All I got was verbal. I can deal with verbal. I got bullied at the bus stop, guy. Kids, we had a cluster of evil teachers. Imported to break the best kids, says Vicky. I'm so sorry to hear that. Going to the teacher never helped at all. The bullying wouldn't happen, phone or not. I was bullied at school, at least in part because I had the worst phone than everybody else. Yeah. I'm sorry you guys experienced those. I got expelled from school. To remind people. So I certainly was no perfect kid. December's best savings accounts paying higher interest after the budget. We must work with China even if it threatens national security. See, there's a two-pronged fault to this. The Prime Minister using Madison House speech to defend a thought of relations with Beijing, potentially laying the groundwork for controversial new super embassy to be given approval. See, there's a two-pronged side of this where I agree that I'm not going to open your bloody link here. Look, I do agree that the UK needs to have a working relationship with China, and it does pee me off a little bit that they want that super embassy, but they really should turn that down. Ban phones at schools. Teach parents to pay attention to their kids instead of sticking a phone into toddlers' phones, so parents can stare at their phone screens, says Alex Adams. I know a very close family of mine who have kids. I think they have a very good system where they're not constantly on their own phones, and their kids are not constantly on their phones as well. They do have a very decent system. The parents that I know. Any other stories that we don't know about here? Not really. So a quick look at the UK here. My ex racked up debts in my name and left our family with nothing. That's absolutely disgusting. That is absolutely horrific for anyone to go through. Please get rid of that bloody advert. Thank you. British tourist drowns in front of wife on holiday in Thailand. Oh, that's horrible. Manchester to London. Ghost train to carry passengers after U-turn. What the hell is that about? A decision to run it without passengers was criticised by Avoni West Coast and the Transport Secretary. What? An express Manchester to London train service will now take passengers after the rail regulator overturned its decision to run it as a ghost train with only crew on board every day. The 7 a.m. express service from Manchester Piccadilly via Stockport to London Euston, which takes just 2 hours, would have run without passengers due to the allegations of paths. The Office of Rail Road said the 7 a.m. express occupies a path that rail network wants to keep clear as a fire break, such as policy introduction. Recovery in such an event as a disruption. No! Don't run a bloody... No. People want that train. The organisation said a decision on the Manchester service, London service was based on a robust evidence provided by Network Rail, adding that the service within the fire break paths of the West Coast Main Line would have detrimental impact on performance. If Avani operate the service as empty coaches, SES, it can be run more flexibly than a booked passenger service. This can assist with performance management and service recovery during disruption. It's very weird. Why even run a ghost service like that? Doesn't make sense to me. Post office warns customers to send Christmas parcels before this date. The post office is urging customers to send their Christmas parcels early this year, predicting Friday, 8th of December, will be the busiest day across its branches nationwide. The warning comes as the post office survey indicates a significant increase in Britain's planning to send gifts, raising from 20% last year to 33%. The same poll highlighted that 34% sending festive parcels and cards elections a cherished tradition. However, only 33% plan to post items early to mid-December, with 8% confessing they leave all their mailing until the final week before Christmas. This is going to infuriate a lot of people. The post office are telling people we can't guarantee your parcels getting to Christmas after the Friday the 8th. This is bollocks. This is what happened. This shit would never happen under a nationalised post service. But because it's private, they can do this. Absolutely infuriating. Guys, if you want to support my work in any way, shape or form, feel free to leave any super chats down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. Does help support the channel if you can in any way. It'd be greatly appreciated, guys. Any other stories here to look at? Illegal migrants to have a mouse search for SIM cards at UK ports, apparently. What? Oh, okay. So, SIM cards because it holds their contact numbers. Interesting. Labour's anti-migrant policies blamed for sluggish UK growth. Lorraine Kerry backs the independent Safe Call campaign. British teenager goes missing on a hike near Dracula's castle. Intelligent men make better boyfriends. Study finds. I don't think you need a study to find that intelligent men make better boyfriends, but that's just me. That is just me. But I'm not the most intelligent person. But my partner has put up with me for more than 15 years. So I must be doing something right, guys. I must be doing something right. Got about 7 minutes left. This is from the BBC. Child reform set to be announced. Starmer said he's proud of the budget but denies misleading public. UK criticises Gaza aid delay as tents arrive. It takes years to arrive. The UK government has criticised delays in aid being allowed into Gaza after a consignment of more than 1,100 tents it sent to the Strip took more than a year to arrive. Yeah, well, what took you guys so long to realise this? This is actually coming from the BBC. Criticises Gaza. Hold on a second. Where's the criticism of Israel? Is there criticism of Israel? Is there criticism of Israel in this at all? A UK funded been able to raise residents despite the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Remains dire. BBC has asked the Israeli government for a response. The tense kibble. Yeah, see, look at this. Criticises Gaza. No, it should be UK criticises Israel, a delay. Because it's Israel the ones who are holding up. This is bollocks. The tents, which are capable of housing a family of 5, have reached Gaza on Monday, with more tents expected to arrive this week. Government sources said that the tents will provide shelters to as many as 12,000 people over the winter months. Cooper said the delay in getting aid into the strip could not be allowed and continue that all crossings in the territory should be open to allow unhinged humanitarian access. Yeah, it should be. It should be. She said the situation in Gaza remains dire and worsening weather conditions, compounding the critical issue caused by damaging infrastructure and over 2 years of conflict. Parents have been trying to shelter their children under broken roofs and open skies. Yeah, I've covered this on Rumble. And I've covered this. I've covered this in the past on previous global newses. Oh wow, Vicky, thank you so much for the $20 US, a little something. Thank you so much, Vicky. That's very kind of you. Thank you for giving that super chat today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing less live streams this year, as you guys know. So anything that helps gets towards the super chat goals for the live streams is really, really helpful. So thank you so much, Vicky, for that. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Man clear for harassing Sir Ed Davey and family. A man who has been cleared of harassing leader of the Liberal Democrats and his wife after turning up at their family home twice. He was found not guilty of harassing them without violence there. So he was just so Ed won't be offering further comments at this time. No, okay. So at least he wasn't violent, but yeah, you shouldn't be turning up at their home. It's a bit too much there. What else they got here? OBR, we know about that. Ex-deputy chair among Tory defections to reform, Jonathan Gullis, which we talked about Jonathan Gullis in for much detail last night on the live stream. Like I said, it'll be timestamped, the Viewpoint live stream we did last night, so you can always check that out there. Hillsborough police report may not give answers. Are you joking? Families of some of those killed in the Hillsborough disaster fear may they once again be denied full accountability when the long delay report into police conducting surrounding the station crash is published later. Several people who worked on the Independent Office for Police Conduct, the IOPC investigation, including former director, have told the BBC they doubt the report will deliver all the answers survivors and bereaved families were promised. So when are they getting the answers then? Some have warned it may lead to accusations of another Hillsborough cover-up. Families have also criticised the length and the cost of the investigation, the largest of its kind ever carried out in England and Wales. Something that, yeah, they're trying to protect the. They're trying to protect the people responsible. This is the establishment is trying to protect the people responsible here. This is bollocks. This is absolute bollocks. They're trying to protect the people responsible. That's what the establishment is doing there. Epping Council loses bid over Home Office intervention. Epping Forest District Council cannot challenge the decision to allow the Home Office to intervene in its unsuccessful bid to block asylum seekers staying at the hotel. Supreme Court rule. I've said this before and I've said this again. With this hotel in particular, in this particular area, I've said this before in the past for those who aren't aware. I said this case in particular, this hotel in particular, this area in particular, they should move them out of this hotel. Just because of the controversy around it, because of the case that was brought up around the individual who was here, it is in the best interest of the Home Office, it's in the best interest of Epping to take them out of that hotel. Take them out of that hotel in particular. Just because what it does, it de-escalates tension in that area. Because there is still tension in this area as long as there are asylum seekers in that hotel. I really think they should have done that. Our daughter died from meningitis after starting uni. A jab would have saved her. Oh, that's absolutely terrible to hear. Girl's death in minibus crushed a truly devastating counsellor says. Absolutely terrible. I've never known anything like this. Day 4 of water outage in Kent and Sussex. What? Recharging the network needs to be done. Slowly burst pipes. Oh my God. South East Waters. Tunbridge Wells without water for 4 days. 4 days! What the hell? We're an island surrounded by water, guys. but yet we can't provide water. Absolute cluster of a joke. Absolute cluster cluck. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. Oh, looks like we're not even going to get to the Guardian with the looks of it from the time, guys. Let's have a quick look here. I was busking. What a man did to me left me horrified. Don't know what that story's about. I'm not going to have time to read it. PM issues China warning and hits out of Brexit. More than 800,000 young children seen social media content. We talked about that already. Longer way reporting to Britain's worst ever sporting disaster to be published today. Not looking forward to it. Any other stories here? Post-budget polling that makes grim reading for Labour. Oh my God, they're going to put it on level with Liz Truss, aren't they? US and UK agreed zero tariffs on pharmaceuticals. I talked about that yesterday there. Lammy on the trial, on the jury trial situation there. Not a lot there from Sky News. Let's have a quick look, see what they're saying here from the Guardian quickly before we head out. BMA denied using junior doctors to strike as progress political career. 12 more prisoners in England and Wales released in error. David Lammy tells of traumatic racial abuse in youth after Farage allegations. Angela Rayner to laid up amendment to speed up workers' rights bill. David Lammy expects to water down plans to scrap most jury trials there. Let's have a quick look at the UK before we head out. See what the front of UK has here. Homes in Tunbridge Wells without water for days after wrong chemicals have been added. They added the wrong chemicals to the water. That's why it's been out. That water we are surrounded is by salt water, though. Yeah, that's true. I know. We're just not looking after our looking after our own water. It does strike me as a bloody joke that an island surrounded by water has a problem with water. You see the irony in that. BRE plans to ease capital on banks. Yet we saw that. UK Terror Watchdog Walls national security plans ignore escalating online threats. I wish I could have kept my cool. My maiden experience with the NHS wheelchair service. Children reaching UK by small boats face SIM card mouth searches now. Dear idea, guys. Right, let me have a quick look in the chat. 40 years of water privatisation isn't going to be without cost, and you can't fix the problem in short order either. Yeah, that's true. Salt water can be salinised. Shane Westmonger won't build those plants. It's not really Westmonger. It's because it's controlled by private waters, my friend. But yeah, I get what you. I know you know that. I know you know that, Alex. But yeah, it's very frustrating indeed. Right, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you so much, Vicky, for the super chat. You salvaged the Good Morning Show today. You did with your very generous 20 US dollars. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I'll be back live in 6 hours time at 6 p.m. for Global News, guys. If you want to know when I'm going to be going live next, you can always check on the home tab on the YouTube channel so you'll know when I'm going to be live next. It's right at the top of the tabs. It tells you when my next live stream is and what time it is. So if you guys want to catch me there, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you can't make my other live stream later on today, I'll be live again tomorrow at 11 a.m. again, so you can join me for that one. Whether or not, I haven't decided whether I'm going to do Prime Minister's questions or not. I may do, I may not. It depends, guys. I've got a lot of wrestling content to do today from my wrestling page because I make money from that wrestling page. That's why I've got to be prioritising that today. But short videos are going to be dropping throughout the day here, which are already scheduled. But if you're a top tier member, you can already check them out. And there's also pollings I'm going to be dropping every day throughout the week at 7 a.m. on the channel as well. So feel free to contribute to those polls and give your thoughts on them as well. All that stuff helps boost the algorithm and whatnot for the channel. But enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. But before you go, just one last thing for me before you go. If you can, please hit that like button. Please share this across social media so others are notified of it. Consider subscribing to the channel and help me get to 2,500 subscribers before the end of the year. And do check out Rumble and Patreon. There is additional content for free to watch on both those platforms, whether it's from the US or from the Middle East. You can check out. Links for them are down below, as well as checking out some of our amazing YouTubers, like One Angry Pagan, who is here in the chat. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.